As I just mentioned over on the audio version of the Big Bid Theory, this episode, we are in Boston. We are at NIGP Forum 2022. Beacon is a flagship sponsor of the event, also an exhibitor. For those of you who are watching this video on Monday, you still have a couple of hours to head over to booth 1231. That's where Beacon has been on display here at the exhibit hall. Josh Schwartzbeck and Stephen Hetzel, the co-founders of Beacon Bid, kind enough to carve some time out for us. And Stephen and Josh, you guys have been very busy over the past 48 hours or so. Just some of your initial impressions on NIGP Forum 2022. Stephen, why don't you start?
Sure, thanks, Bill. And Boston's really an incredible city. We're enjoying our first time at this event. We've really made a big splash. Yesterday was really fun connecting with a lot of the agencies who are interested in Beacon, and I'm really enjoying, we're meeting a lot of people in person. That's especially refreshing.
Yeah, Bill, yesterday at the exhibit hall, there's just a lot of energy and excitement. We learned some really, really interesting things, and we got to show off a lot of the incredible tools we've been building the industry has never, ever seen before. So it's really exciting stuff.
Exciting has certainly been the pivotal word. Over 200 exhibitors at NIGP Forum 2022, thousands of attendees. So let's roll up our sleeves. Let's talk more about Beacon. You look at this company, and longtime listeners of this show know that TBBT is powered by BidPrime. But if you would, Stephen or Josh, talk about the relationship between Beacon and BidPrime.
Sure, I'll start. And we really started Beacon to make a difference in e-procurement. Coming from the industry, really from the BidPrime experience on the contractor side, we launched that in 2009, and we witnessed a lot of changes in the market, especially like with consolidation and the e-procurement side, just e-procurement services and solutions out there. And I noticed that every time there's a consolidation, there seems to be a backward movement and actually making products that work for agencies and suppliers. That's like, they're trying to find ways to make more money or take up more time or just, double dip or do something like that. There's a lot of technology, guardrails, gatekeeping. It's just not really enabling vendors to enter into the market. That's specifically what we're trying to support with Beacon, especially with local businesses, which really are small businesses, minority women, veteran-owned businesses. Those contractors almost unanimously complain about how complicated government websites are, or just like how cumbersome these e-procurement solutions are that are currently on the market. That's what we're trying to reinvent here in Boston with everything we're doing at Beacon. We took everything that suppliers told us wasn't working for them, and then we went to the agencies. We did a lot of research, had conversations, asked them what did they like about their current e-procurement systems, what didn't they like about them, their frustrations. And Josh and I took the same design approach, the same way that we approached at BidPrime, which worked out, I'd say, pretty well. And here we are now.
Can you kind of, and this is for, I don't want to use the word nerds, but I guess I'm going to say nerds. As I've observed over the past 24 hours, people coming by the booth, I see both of you, Steve and Josh and other people on your team, having these conversations, talking to people about the design approach behind Beacon without, giving up the entire recipe. Can you talk more about that? What went into building Beacon, at least as it looks today?
Well, Bill, kind of on a high level, we'll first start talking about what worked at BidPrime and how we carried that over to Beacon. So at BidPrime, we really focused on achieving the widest coverage of government agencies and assuring no bid was off limits. A lot of times there's these walled gardens that have been put up on, who can access what bids and hurdles you have to jump through to get to those bids. And we try to do away with that. Our goal was to really get the most relevant leads into the hands of our customers and to do everything we could to make researching bid qualification as efficient as possible. So one of the first things that we did was build these tools for bid detection and capture, getting the bids into our system and out to our customers as fast as possible. In addition to that, we built this very, very powerful customized search engine that expands just far beyond simple keyword searches. It includes categorization, smart search layering, tons of different technologies layered on top of each other. One of my favorite efficiencies that we've recently added into BidPrime is allowing our customers to search and preview bid documents. So PDFs, Microsoft Word, and Excel documents in milliseconds, just right from the platform. So you can open up a document, read through it, search it, and qualify, in just seconds. This specifically is something that we've brought over to the Beacon platform as well. So we've borrowed a lot of ideas from BidPrime that we're bringing over to Beacon, namely the simple and intuitive yet powerful mantra that we have. So we brought over the document researching capabilities that we allow agencies to use. We allow making changes to solicitations, including addendums, awards, and extensions, and only requiring a few clicks to do that. We keep audit logs showing changes to solicitations, including the addendums, awards, and extensions, requiring just a few clicks. We keep an audit log showing any changes that happen and notify vendors, keeping them updated and in the loop. We have that audit log that goes out to the plan holders that agencies can choose to notify whenever they make changes to their solicitations. And I think one of the most important pieces is the broadcaster. So Beacon connects with outside bid distributors in order to broadcast agency solicitations across thousands and thousands of potential vendors. Importantly, it also keeps track of those vendors that are being broadcast to so that agencies are able to send communication updates. Lastly, we've brought over some electronic submission for bids, which is something that just went live as an optional module pretty recently. We've made the plan holder sign up and bid submission process the easiest out there. We've done a lot of research looking at a lot of the e-submit products out there, and I think ours is just the easiest and most intuitive to use. For one, our suppliers don't have to register for accounts. All they need is a working email address that they can use to manage their e-submit and all their updates. We really tried to make the process easy while still giving agencies the ability to keep and interact with that plan holder list. And one of the most important things, I think, is that there are 0 fees to view the bid specifications. We firmly believe in removing that barrier to entry for government procurement, making it more equitable for all businesses, no matter how big or small you are, to participate in the government procurement process.
And thanks, Josh. And I just wanted to note too that some of the sign-up process for e-procurement solutions is some of the most negative feedback we've seen related to other e-procurement portals. There are unbelievable hurdles that exist for some of them.
Okay. Color me intrigued. I'm going to take the bait here, Josh and Stephen. I know in my travels, what I've seen and heard, to include right here in Boston, Massachusetts, I hear what people are saying. So as you've met, and I know it hasn't just been during your visit here to Boston to NIGP Forum 2022, but over time, what have you heard? What are you seeing from not just vendors / suppliers, but also agencies? I keep hearing the word easy. You guys keep talking about easy. Why is that important?
Yes, it's very important. And I mean, we mentioned earlier that we started BidPrime in 2009. So we've really seen a lot of these, seen some wild things. And some of these registration processes have like 100 or so fields. I like to kind of compare it to one of those surveys. You click on it, says, hey, how was your experience flying? And you're like, okay, it was great. And then all of a sudden there's 30 more questions you have to answer that, how was the food? How was the cleanliness? I'm like, never mind, I give up. And that sort of process with registration really negatively impacts the participation on in the public sector market. There's sometimes they have just like extensive validations of like forms. We need to have this form and that form just to view the documents, just to view specifications. And government procurement officers have actually told me that they know that this inhibits the process and they want to do something to change it. That's part of why we built Beacon. It's they want to make the change. It's just there's not really the options out there. There's examples of, an employee leaves a company and somebody else registered, a second person, because that person's no longer there, but they will just deny the registration because there's some person who registered for that entity in the past that has no working email address and they can't get through. And I mean, it's just really frustrating things I've heard through a lot of these other portals. Like sometimes there's a 48-hour waiting period just to view a scope of work. And I think like the real example here is if let's say you sell like wooden desks or you sell like a certain type of temporary, staffing services, whatever it is, a lot of times these titles for solicitations will say something generic like furniture. And what do? You sell a subset of furniture and you need to look at the documents. This is what BidPrime does, right? This is what Beacon is making easier for these vendors so they don't actually have to go through the rigmarole, I call it, that a lot of times companies just will decide to skip over it. Also, there are e-procurement companies. This is, some of the things that I find most unnerving because I've seen it affect so many businesses. out there through the years. And there's companies that advertise themselves as free or free for all, but they really make it difficult for suppliers or contractors to actually use it for free without paying them a subscription fee or like a $7 document fee or something like that. Just they have to pay out of pocket a lot of the times just to view the specifications to see, is this a good opportunity or not? And it's just a shell game. Like, it's free for one agency, right? But if you work for more than one agency, which by the way, most vendors do, and guess what you got to do? You got to pay a fee each time just to view the document. And so these are the kind of games that I guess really motivated me and Josh to work on Beacon and get this out there and really just kind of stop the games that a lot of these companies are playing. I've heard from a lot of folks to the effect of, if we have to pay, then we don't play. And that's why we're here now. So it's really an ethical issue at the end of the day. It's our mission to end this practice and make procurement easier, more accessible. Some of the stuff Josh was mentioning earlier, to really just help serving agencies better.
Yeah, great point. And we're here in Boston. Boston is home to Harvard and MIT. And no surprise to our audience, I'm not a graduate of either institution. But that being said, it seems like a lot of what you guys just talked about, it seems like it's counterproductive to the whole process to make it difficult for businesses, for suppliers, for vendors. It just seems silly to me.
I actually do a lot of research on user experience, and I feel like sometimes some systems, not going to name them, but they do the anti-user experience. They take what is a positive user experience and flip it over just to try to, no, let's take these principles out. Just not good.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of sorry. Like I say, there's a lot of clogs in the pipes that are artificial and a lot of walled gardens. And again, our philosophy is around transparency, the usability and fairness that just don't seem to be standards in the industry. But I think we can help that catch on.
Yeah, maybe a new day is coming indeed. So as a lead up to our conversation, I did a little bit of research. And of course, one of the things that Beacon has done this week is put out a lot of information about features, about benefits, about the philosophy, some that you guys have just touched upon. But this really grabbed my attention. And I'm going to quote here. I've got a document up. 68% of procurement officers surveyed believe that download fees negatively impact the number of bid responses. Asking suppliers, and you just said it a moment ago, Stephen, asking suppliers to, quote, pay to play, it does raise many eyebrows. I know here at NIGP Forum, as that's come up in conversation, there are some agencies out there that don't even know that fees are involved.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, I would say that the other 32% just don't understand how vendors approach this, or may not understand the other side, or just have not taken the time to understand how it works. It's just one of those things.
It's been a little while. You have to go back. I think it's a couple of seasons ago here on this show. We've had experts on talking about set-asides, and not for that reason alone, but it's kind of near and dear to my heart when we're talking about those businesses with special designations, how sometimes they're left out of the process, which seems crazy to me. But as you guys, again, in your travels, what are you hearing about the impact of things like difficult registrations, fees, and all those other things that can serve as impediments to the process? How is that affecting the women-owned small business, the veteran-owned small business, minority-owned, so on and so forth?
So some of the things I heard yesterday, actually, in conversations, that cooperative contracts are also negatively impacting participation from small businesses. And that's something that was an interesting topic that we'll certainly dig more into. But just in general, many of these smaller agencies are forced to use budget solutions or free solutions, or free, that are not Beacon free. They just have these, I guess, small businesses and women, minority, veteran businesses, they fall victim to the burden of fees and these long, drawn out registration gambits that I touched upon earlier. I won't get into all that again. But they just choose not to participate in the process or even in the public sector market at all. It's awful.
So a moment ago, Stephen, and I know our audience heard it as well, you used the word free, and a bunch of people are reaching for their calculators right now, and they're thinking, okay, free, what's the catch?
Yeah,
there has to be a catch, right?
Yeah, and I understand. It's a good question. I would wonder the same thing, especially given the solutions on the market right now. We're building Beacon to be like a premium model. And one of the examples I heard was like kind of like the way LinkedIn does it. And if agencies want to post bids on our platform, if they want to link to their bids and do all that stuff, it's free. And we're also giving free access to the first 500 agencies that register for RFP Archive to use that service too, which is an amazing service that's gotten a lot of great feedback so far. If somebody just wants to use the RFP Archive to help write their bids and use it as for template, they can stick to their current system and just use that. And we have some interesting premium modules for them for a large agency that are interested in looking into that.
Guys, I know we're up against it. Each of you, I know, have meetings here momentarily with folks from various agencies. But if you would, real quickly, Josh, Stephen, whoever wants to grab this, what's next on the development schedule for Beacon? What's ahead in the not too distant future?
So Bill, we're looking into expanding out the lead distribution, getting the solicitations that our agencies post into as many relevant and qualified hands as possible. So we're working on expanding out our API capabilities, our integrations with third-party ERPs, and working to create a number of simple integrations to different agency platforms. And lastly, we're working on adding in some vendor grading, analytics, and survey communication tools so that we have the full end-to-end experience for posting, publishing, managing, and follow-up, posting the awards and getting the survey results and feedback that our agencies are interested in.
Well, guys, there's still a lot going on coming up in NIGP Forum 2022. Guys, what else is ahead for Beacon on the calendar while you're in Boston?
Well, we have an event tomorrow. It's going to be fun. It's an exclusive event. We've invited agencies and BidPrime customers to come by the sporting club at the Omni Hotel, and it has food, beverages, raffles, prizes. We're also previewing the launch of Beacon's eBid module, which is many new modules that hopefully are to come, and really celebrate a lot of the newfound connections that we've made here. It's been really fun.
Yeah, we should also mention that we'll be celebrating BidPrime's 13th anniversary during the social event. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone there. So I'll see you.
Yeah.
As I say, by the way, congratulations on that, and appreciate you guys carving some time out. I know you're both busy.
Right. And I'm sure I'll see you in about 10 minutes across the street here.
That's going to do it for this episode. As Stephen just mentioned, Josh, thanks to you as well. We're going to head back over to the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center here in Boston, wrap up day 2 of the exhibit hall. Stay tuned for more episodes. We'll likely have Stephen and Josh back on in the coming months, coming episodes to talk more about Beacon. So signing off from Boston, we'll see you soon.